parent coordinator for the Department of Education, and this is my daughter Victoria.
Yeah, I'm Victoria, and I'm a 11th grader in high school.
I grew up in a household. My father, of course, was the macho man, Puerto Rican household, but yet my mom still worked. My dad had a grocery store when I was growing up, and yes, he was the owner, but who ran the bodega? My mom. So even though the word was, I'm the man of the house, my vision and understanding was, okay, you're the man of the house, you're in charge, but my mom is doing all the work.
Sort of with a lot of the men in our family, that it's very much that the man is the one that like controls the money, is sort of the center of the family basically. But yeah, even with me growing up as not like speaking as much Spanish and being as close to the Puerto Rican roots as she may have been, since my grandparents are the one that were born in Puerto Rico, we still sort of have some of that mindset in the household.
Well, I'm an old-fashioned woman. I have old-fashioned values, and I was just brought up very traditional. And with that said, even though I feel old-fashioned to a lot of family members, I'm still the one that's a bit different, the one that's more outspoken, the one that's considered a bitch, because my filter, I have a hard time having a filter. So I'm always considered like, oh, who does she think she is? Because I say other things that, are not very woman-like or ladylike.
I guess the way I sort of see myself is I do have some sort of those girly girl tendencies with the way I sort of do things, along with not necessarily always being worried about like how people see me. Like there are certain things with like, oh, the way I have my hair, I like it a certain way, or sometimes the way I dress a certain way. But when it comes to like sort of if I'm debating or just having a conversation, I don't necessarily try and have a certain viewpoint in which I would say, oh, since I'm a girl, I have to look at it this way. I sort of try and look at things from, I guess, the least biased point of view. So like not really limiting myself to certain things. Well, in school I'm involved in the Model UN team. And with that, it's very interesting because we do have to look at and argue certain things that I may not personally agree with. Actually, last week in the practice, we were talking about female genital mutilation, and I just happened to be randomly put on the side that defended the act of female circumcision. I do still disagree with the procedure itself, since the basis of it is for women to not find any pleasure in sex. And I don't think that that's wrong morally in so many ways, to not even do the procedure sterilely. In a lot of ways, it's sort of you're just put on a cold table and they perform the procedure. I did understand though a little bit more that other people, that is very respectful for them, and even though for us it might be wrong, you have to think of the implications of the people in their own culture besides just the physical aspect of what they were doing.
It's just certain things and certain roles, it's a man's job. And many women do a lot of jobs as good and sometimes even better. The family, I think it's just because a lot of our upbringing was just that, the man is the dominant role and that's it. And if you say too much or you try to explain, we have equal rights, it's like, you just hate men, you're upset, because of whatever reason. And it's like, no, and I don't know, sometimes it's done in a joking manner, but it's true views that people just don't know how to get past that.
I definitely do think in a lot of ways it is sort of easier for a man in society, because like even just being my age, I'm told like with school certain dress codes, oh, you can't wear any sort of like tank top because, or something short because that's distracting. And I think that's very interesting that instead of sort of teaching that girls shouldn't just be objectified and looked at for their bodies, that it's told, no, you shouldn't wear that because that's not something good to wear. Or even just walking down the street, that you have to worry about like wearing certain things because you might get like called at by someone random in the street. So I think, yeah. So I think it is easier for men because stuff like that usually they don't have to worry about. I have a younger brother who's 14 years old, and I do think we're treated differently, but that also has to do with how our personalities are very different.
The roles naturally define themselves that way, at least in my household, with him being that way, and I'm trying to teach him, it's okay to be sensitive, it's okay to cry, it's okay to be strong, and most definitely defend your sister, look out for her, respect her, and remember that you have to always treat her fragilely. Feminism is having equality, being able to speak, to be heard, to understand, to be part of something at all times, and to just be considered equal. At least that's what I feel. But with Victoria, it's funny because she's just growing up. She's very strong-minded, and she's not afraid. And I think I admire that so much from her, my daughter, because I was always afraid to speak. It was like, growing up, it was like, just be quiet, I encourage her, and everything that I wasn't able to do as a child, I want her to be able to experience it and go for it and hey, do whatever, because I was always afraid.
Sort of very similar to what she thinks feminism is, I also believe where people should have equal rights, whether a man or a woman. And I think, especially now in society, like being a feminist has a very negative connotation, where people think a lot of the time it's that women are like these men haters, that they want to be even more powerful than men. Yeah, basically. A lot of the time I even heard the term feminazi. Personally, I just don't even know how to react, since that's almost like a hateful term to use, where a lot of the people using it, they're really just trying to show their viewpoints, yet it's being turned around because they're a girl, and like you're not supposed to be so strong-minded. And yeah.
With our family, they're always like, oh no, you can't because you're a girl. And she's like, what? My mom has influenced me so much, which is so funny because as submissive as she's been in her life, she's always been strong-minded, determined, and she's always gotten everything done in her own way. Her strength, her faith, her everything, just everything that my mom does, she does it so tactfully that it seems like, okay, you got it, but yet she's the one that's doing it all. And I admire that, and I try to be a little like that. I'm hoping that as a mom, I'm able to teach my kids to get away from my old thinking and be able to instill better and stronger values in them so that they can be stronger and more proactive in the way they feel and the way they're able to get their messages out and be able to stand up for equality in all, and just being righteous and creating peace.
Ooh, no hesitation.
Okay. Today I commit to being more equal with my children and having them do equal work. Dishes are not just for girls, bathrooms are not just for boys, they can both divide all the work together. Today I'm going to nominate as Womanity Ambassador my co-worker, Kristen Jefferson. You have 24 hours to accept this challenge. Kristen, I think you'll go with the flow, and I think you'll be great at answering these questions. You're strong, you ride bike to school every day in the cold weather, and I think you're an amazing woman. I think you'll be great for this challenge. Can't wait to hear your answers.
I think you have to take that
Yeah.
advantage. Oh, here we go. And wow.
Today I commit to make sure that my mother always asks my brother and I to equally do chores around the house.